Hey guys, it's Terry Wellbanks with Event Banks MMA and Warrior Fight Store Whitby, www.wfsw.ca. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about an issue that's going on in MMA and cover a little bit of my opinion on the issue in regards to Twitter and MMA athletes. Now, have you ever had a boss that was like super cool and when you're around him you can joke with him and he says raunchier stuff than what you say, and then as soon as you say something raunchy and the manager gets wind of it or the owner gets wind of it, then or somebody at a higher power gets wind of it, then what happens is that manager that jokes around with you when behind closed doors and when the owner isn't around then decides that it's time to discipline you for what you said, knowing that they say things 10 times worse. That's kind of the situation that I feel like MMA is heading towards right now with the social media. Guys like King Mo Lawal, who was recently released not because of his supplement that he took that had the steroid in it. He was released basically for what he said on Twitter about the commissioner, who, if you've heard the audio, which I'm sure if you're an MMA fan, you've definitely heard it. If I knew how to edit, I would put it in the video for you so you could hear it, but I don't. So basically, she went on to ask him if he was capable of reading, understanding English, and obviously, as many of you may know, or if you don't know who Mo Lawal is, he's an African American man. He basically took that to heart, thinking that she was being racist or slighting him, thinking that he may have lower education. He's a university graduate. He's a very well-learned man. He's well-traveled. He understands everything, and he took exception to that. And then he vented on Twitter, which many of these MMA athletes have been doing. They have been venting on Twitter. Now, my issue is not that maybe Lowell stepped over the line. He might have, in terms of what he said. He also apologized immediately, and he retracted the statement. Obviously, it's too late once the higher powers get a hold of it. But it's very frustrating as an MMA fan to see a guy that has an 8-1 record get fired from the biggest organization in the world when for statements that he said on Twitter, when all of the athletes are encouraged to use Twitter. They have contests to see who can get the most Twitter followers. They encourage them to use Twitter and be interactive with the fans. And some of them use it very well. Some of them use it politically correct, and some of them use it as a venting tool. I mean, every single athlete's a human, and regardless of if you're in baseball, hockey, basketball, football, all of these guys are human. And I think that us as fans, we forget that sometimes, that maybe they're going to say some things that are a little bit over the line or aggressive, and then what happens is that the higher powers, once it causes a stir, the higher powers then say, well, now we need to do something about this. Miguel Torres is a perfect example. They let him go. Basically, it was a very quick knee-jerk reaction. They let him go, and then they brought him back based on the fact he fixed the situation. I think that in most cases and many other cases where people have been punished based on what they're saying on Twitter, if Zuffa or any organization, Bellator or MFC or anybody out there wants to police Twitter, I think maybe what they should do is they should set some policies and guidelines in place for these guys so they understand what it is they can say. One minute they're being encouraged to say certain things and to get out there and expose themselves and show everybody who they are, and then in the next minute they're being punished if they say something for how they feel. Again, I don't think that Mo. It's not that Mo maybe didn't cross a line. He probably did. And I'm sure he realized he shouldn't have said that. But as a massive Mo supporter, King Mo Lawal supporter, it's very disheartening to see that he was fired. And then when this happens, I ask myself, well, if it was Forrest Griffin or Chuck Liddell or Rich Franklin or someone like this, would they have fired them? Probably not. And I don't think that there's a set guideline. I understand that Dana and everybody over at Zuffa takes it case by case, but it's extremely frustrating when when certain cases you got to look at it from both sides of the coin, right? I mean, Dana says some pretty interesting things on Twitter from time to time, things that I would think are just as bad, if not worse, than what Lawal said. But obviously Dana can't be disciplined. I mean, I'm sure he can, but he's not going to be disciplined for what he says on Twitter. That's his whole thing. He's very interactive with fans, and I appreciate that as a fan, that he is so interactive. But and I take everything he says with a grain of salt, just as I would take anything King Mo Lawal says with a grain of salt, or Forrest Griffin or Miguel Torres. I understand that they're human beings, and I think that us as fans, we need to really realize that they are human. They are going to make mistakes. Should he be fired from there? No. Will he find another job competing in another organization? 100%. As soon as his suspension's up in October, we're going to see him land in Bellator, MFC, or Titan Fighting, or any of these organizations would be happy to have him, which is great for him. And hopefully one day he'll get back into Zuffa, or hopefully over the next coming days they'll kind of retract what they did. But more so, I just think, and I'll go back to my boss analogy, is that if it's very, very shady in the way that people sometimes react to certain things, and this case by case thing needs to stop. I'm definitely an advocate for a certain set of rules. If you want the guys to use Twitter, let them use Twitter. Let them use it the same way that Dana would use it, right? Or Lorenzo, or anybody would use Twitter. But some people seem to be untouchable in the UFC, which is a little bit off to me, and I don't really understand how some people have these rules and some people have these rules. It's very, very confusing. But I mean, again, Zuffa obviously has reasonings for what they do. I get it, and I mean, as a sport that's associated with major networks now and is growing like crazy, you definitely want to make sure that you're very politically correct with what you do. You definitely don't want to tick off commissions, and I get that. But at the same time, you have to look at it from both standpoints. Mo obviously, came out and said what he said, and it's unfortunate that he's been released. And Mo's an amazing competitor. I'm a massive supporter of him. Mike Hogan went on the MMA Hour, and he explained the situation, which was great, and exactly how Mo felt. So I just really hope that this is more of a plea for Zuffa and any other organization out there to really, really focus on getting a set guideline for social media. I really think that it's important for every athlete out there to understand where they stand and what they can say and what they can't say. If you want them to be, freedom of speech, you want them to say what they want to be able to say, then you have to allow it. Obviously, I understand that this is an extreme case where somebody was called a malicious name, but at the same time, she also insulted Mo to a point to where he felt that he had to retract or say a statement, and I completely side with him on that, only because I think if one person's allowed to make a person feel small and make them feel like they don't understand the proceedings of what's going on, when in fact that individual is extremely educated and knows what he's talking about, and he only wanted to go in there to answer straightforward questions, not be insulted, then you have to understand where he's coming from too. Zuffa is the biggest organization in the world. I definitely wouldn't be watching MMA if it wasn't for Zuffa. So everything they do, I appreciate and I get, but some things, as I said, they just kind of throw me off once in a while. So if you have a boss and the boss comes to you and he says crazy things, and then there's an owner, once he catches wind of something that you said, and then that manager then decides that he wants to discipline you, it's a similar situation in the fact that it's just it's working a little bit of a slimy road, I think. So hopefully this situation gets rectified. Hopefully the UFC and Zuffa puts a set rule out there, so everybody can understand what they have to do. And I mean, I'm sad for Mo, but I know he'll bounce back, and I know he's going to be a huge success wherever he goes. He's a great athlete. There's tons of people out there that have said things on Twitter or Facebook or any social media that are much worse, in my opinion. And I think case by case in this situation is kind of silly. But Dana and Lorenzo and all those guys, they have reasonings for what they do, and hopefully more comes to light and we understand exactly why they did what they did. So that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe to the channel. Please share, repost, retweet, do everything you can. I'd like to see this channel grow a little bit, and definitely get people watching. The more people that watch, obviously, the more videos I'll do. I don't want to talk to myself in cyberspace. Doesn't make much sense to do that. So big event announcement coming up soon. I can't wait, and we're definitely going to have somebody come in that's going to be, he's a very, very big superstar. And hopefully we're going to have a couple of people come in over the next month or two. So it should definitely be good. The events are growing. The store's great. Check out the website, www.wfsw.ca. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much. And please leave your comments. If you guys disagree with what I'm saying, I want to hear it. So, and as well, you know, I want to interact, and I want to make sure that, you know, I talk to everybody that takes a chance to watch the video. I sincerely appreciate it. So thank you guys. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.